Hi there guys, and welcome back to the Tower Tech. Today we're going to be talking about how you can photograph the moon. It's the supermoon. It's the closest that the moon has been to the Earth for 68 years. I live in Britain and of course it's really cloudy, so how can you get out and enjoy the moon despite the cloud? So the things that you're going to need: a good sturdy tripod. You're going to need a decent camera that you can adjust the various settings manually. A DSLR is ideal. You're going to need a good spot that has minimal light pollution, and you're going to need a thick coat because it's freezing out there. The camera that I'm going to be using for the filming tonight is the Canon 70D. It's the same camera that I use for recording all of my videos. Absolutely fantastic camera. There's an absolute plethora of videos out on YouTube about using and setting this thing up. And I'm not going to bore you with all of the details in this video. If you don't understand things like ISO, aperture, and exposure time, then this video is probably not for you. But I know a very quick description. Effectively what I'm going to be doing is dialing the ISO right down. ISO is going to introduce noise, and the reason that we want to make sure that we don't introduce noise is that we're going to be using a very long aperture time. So this is the amount of time that the camera opens up and lets light in. So it effectively layers that light on because it's going to be so dark. We want to capture the landscape around. We need to capture all of the light that we possibly can. The other thing that we're going to be thinking about is the size of the aperture. This is known as the f-stop. So the bigger the aperture, the more light it lets in. I've got a 50mm lens on this camera at the moment. It's known as the Nifty 50. It's the lowest f-stop or aperture size that I have of any of my lenses. It goes all the way down to 1.8, so the smaller the number, the larger the aperture is. And there are three main controls on the Canon 70D that you're going to be interested in. So there is a wheel on the top here, which controls the length of time that the aperture opens. There is the ISO button on the top of the camera, and there's also a wheel on the back here that controls how large the aperture is. Again, there's an absolute plethora of videos available on the internet, so feel free to go and have a look at those, but I wanted to give you a very quick view of the camera that I'm going to go and be using. So now let's get back up to the woods and let's see what sort of imagery we can get of the moon. Hi there guys, we're out in the wooded area that you've seen me fly drones a couple of times before. I have to say it's pretty eerie and quiet out here at this time of the evening. I've had to put my 50mm lens on so that I can get down to f1.8. It's so dark out here and I couldn't get any other lens to actually focus on my face. So I'm going to take some long exposure snaps of the moon. As we discussed before, it's very cloudy in England, as it always is, so taking detailed shots of the moon is not going to happen. Therefore we're going to go for a nice artistic landscape, long exposures, try and get the light that is coming off of the moon and bouncing down into the countryside and see what sort of shots that we can get. But I really wanted to take this video just so that you could see how dark it really is out here. Okay, let's take some shots. There we go guys, there's my attempt. The British are never ones to be put off by bad weather. We live in a typically very cloudy and wet country. Indeed, I'm glad I went out when I did because it's actually now tipping it down outside. I'm sure these aren't going to be the best pictures that you're going to see of the supermoon over the next day or so, But here's our attempt from the UK. I sincerely hope that you get better weather where you are, and I look forward to seeing your pictures. If you're not yet subscribed, please do so by bashing that button there, and I'll see you in the next video.